Good morning. This is Professor Anderson with a little bit of feedback for your writing assignment number 3, the memo to a decision maker. So I have this split screen here. I've pulled up the template so that we could just go line by line or section by section to review your submission. Let me just pull this out a bit here. So it requires this synonymous template. And in the industry, in any industry, they're going to have their own unique template. So just for this assignment for writing 394, we're using this template, and you followed it perfectly. But I wanted to point out that every industry has its own formula or template, and that's the uniqueness of an interoffice memo or of a memorandum of decision making that you need to follow the industry's format. So the template may vary. The first section is a two-prong statement. One, what's the problem? And 2, request the permission. So the problem is, I'm not sure how the research would employ mindfulness programs. So employee mindfulness programs are inherently important benefits to offer to sustain, top recruiting and retention of top talent. With your permission, I would like to conduct a global mindfulness survey and or interviews of current employees to determine how our industry works. So, how our industry implements these programs. So, 1, quickly describe in one sentence, what is the issue? Why is it that you need to request permission? And then 2, your second statement is requesting permission, because again, you can't, without being granted permission into an industry, you can't necessarily just dive in and conduct independent research. So then you give a good overview of what the mindfulness program is. You want to avoid these first person references. So in a memo, you're really just stating the facts. Like, this is what's happening. This is what will complete the understanding of what's happening vis-a-vis, or that is to say, the primary research, and then this is how it may benefit our organization. But I think it makes sense for us. You want to make sure that you're avoiding subjective statements like that. Better to say, conducting research regarding this topic will offer us a better understanding. So change it from a first-person perspective to a global perspective focused on the business and industry. And again, in the secondary research that you've conducted, what I recommend saying instead is scholarly, literature on the topic of mindfulness programs shows, and just to be as remote as possible. I like to maintain that objective viewpoint, because that allows for the information and the data gathered to remain objective as also. So the primary research, the reason this topic piqued my interest is because over the course of several weeks, I've heard of a pattern of conversations around our office where employees are dealing with tough personal issues. So again, you want to avoid this thing. You want to say, just detail what the primary research will be. Avoid topics like, I heard this, that's giving some subjective, although it's authentic, it's just giving feedback in there that is a little too subjective. So instead, perhaps to say, conversations in the office place point to difficult, tough personal issues being dealt with by employees. A survey of, I plan to, or a survey, distributing a survey to current employees based on, asking their input on what programs the office could implement will help us to better understand. Distributing will help us to better understand the impact of our benefits packages to employees during tough times. That's a really long sentence, but I think I hope you understand where I'm trying to get. It's just to maintain that objectivity while you're describing exactly what you're going to do. Distributing the surveys via an email server or one-to-one follow-up interviews with a select percentage of employees will give us a more authentic understanding of the situation as it applies in our office. So how will we benefit from this? You want to say, this allows us, gathering this information coupled with our understanding from the secondary research, will allow us an authentic understanding of what the problem is to help us arrive at a best practices solution for our particular situation. So you want the basic suggestions, whoops, I don't know why this scooched down, that I recommend for you are: one, avoid those first person subjective statements and observations. And two, get straight to the point. The more clear, concrete, and concise that you can be, the more well received your memo will be. I look forward to reading your final copy.